A different side of the Royal Guard has been exposed, thanks to some recently uploaded videos showing how differently they treat specially abled people. We all know that the Royal Guards are trained to remain stoic no matter the situation they find themselves, and even when tourists are disrespectful, the guards have maintained their famous composure, except for a few instances. This is why it's shocking when they break character. These heartbreaking moments you will see will definitely surprise you, but they also make you see the Royal Guards in a new light. As we get into it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell to be notified about our new story. It's not only young people who get their fill of love and kindness from the Royal Guards and horses. The tourist in the wheelchair wasn't close enough for a great picture, and the guard intentionally moved the horse into her frame. Talk about cool. The horse decided to do one better than its rider by gently munching on the lady's extended hand. And look at how happy that made her. Our darling horse won this round of who brought the most joy. Another gentleman joined the party, and everyone was having a great time posing for pictures. This officer was enjoying some alone time with the horse, and during such moments, tourists have to keep their distance, because oftentimes, the Royal Guard had to press the emergency button to call an officer to help with some sort of trouble. So when the young tourist came closer, it was nice to see this officer welcome him to touch the horse. Even when the lady showed some interest, the officer was happily prepared to direct her to the part of the horse she could touch. And you can see her face just light up with joy. Creating such a cool moment was just so encouraging. The horse actually takes most of the credit for this kindness. Even before the guard knew what was happening, the horse moved closer to this lady, who was being helped by her dad to close the gap. This nature of the animal to quickly sense vulnerability has been praised by many pet owners, who have often talked about their own experiences of animal kindness. And you can't dispute their claim, seeing how the royal horses relate with children, and specially abled people. The guard also helped to keep the horse as calm as possible. And you can see the girl's dad thanked the guard as they left. The teenager is just experiencing a great moment with the horse while his dad is engaged with the Royal Guard. And the teen's gentle movements after taking a step back are the expression of joy we like to see when people visit the palace. Another rare moment of seeing a Royal Guard speak on duty. This interaction between the guard and the girl is one of the most wholesome things ever. It was truly wonderful that they both showed mutual respect for one another. The young lady carefully approached the guard and asked him if it was okay to touch the noble steed. And this was when the guard told her she could, which is a huge compliment because we rarely see the guards speak to people.
Yeah.
It almost never actually happens. So you can understand why this was so cool to see. This guard was already smiling when he noticed the tourist approaching him, and his first instinct was to nudge his horse so it could become aware of her approach. After taking her picture, it was obvious that she wanted to touch the magnificent beast, and the guard was happy to let her. And look at the way the horse remained still for the scrub, only moving its head when the woman was done. Some people probably wouldn't understand what these moments mean for some specially abled kids. Look at this kid and how excited she was to get close to the horse, and her guardian still ensured she was respectful by not letting the excited teen agitate the horse. After taking her picture, just look at how bubbly she is. Even the guard can't help but smile at such a display of pure bliss. Why wouldn't you be kind after such a respectful approach? Even the stoic guard had to break character to acknowledge his greeting. After taking his picture, he turns around to say thank you, giving a thumbs up again. If this doesn't make people more respectful toward others, we don't know what would. This kid clearly shows other tourists that guards are humans too, and a little bit of respect does go a long way. If not for his guardian's cautionary shout, this boy would probably have enjoyed a cooler time with this horse. You notice that it is already bringing its head closer to the boy's touch. Even the guard was bringing the horse closer to him. Of course, the kid's guardian was only being careful, and it allowed us see another amazing display of the Royal Guards and horses' awesomeness. This would make you go, "Oh, one!" The lady in brown initially engaged the guard, and it probably shocked some other tourists that he replied to the lady. Then, this young girl was helped to move closer to the horse, and the crowd wasn't ready for what was about to happen. The horse moved its head closer to the kid, and she gave its snout a little smooch. You can hear other tourists loudly cheering, and you can understand their elation because this is something that doesn't happen every day. You can imagine what that means for the young girl. This young man also had an unforgettable experience thanks to this royal guard. His diligent guardian stood behind him and ensured he was respectful and standing at a reasonable distance from the guard. The guard saw this and decided to move closer to the kid to ensure a great picture. The kid's slight withdrawal after the guard moved closer is understandable. It is not often that the guards would move to please tourists. This being one of those rare times, it was nice to see. This guy in the chair had waited for the many other tourists to have their turn in picture taking. It seemed the guard observed this, and when this cheery and smiling guy wheeled himself in for a picture, even when it was way too close to the horse, the guard was cool with it. And the horse was too. With the picture taken, the tourist turned to the guard and asked permission to touch the horse, and the guard nodded his approval. When it was all done, this guy showed his gratitude to the guard with a 5-star thumbs up. Talk about somebody else that deserves a thumbs up. This guard here. These tourist duo had already set themselves up to take a picture, but it wasn't going to be a great one because the wheelchair was parked so far away. Thankfully, the guard saw these and decided to move closer for the picture. This was such a good gesture from the soldier. This lady, like many others, wanted to get close to the horse, but she was afraid. The guard sensed this and gently nudged the horse to move closer, which scared the girl. Eventually, she was able to take a great picture. Like we have seen many times, the horse seems to understand human vulnerability more than most people. Immediately, this fellow in the chair was pushed into its space. The horse started to pull closer, and you can tell that he loved it with the way he smiled so broadly. A little joy was added to everyone's day at that moment. The kind nature is, of course, not limited to royal guards and horses alone. Like in this video, you can see the officer come of his own free will, not because he had to do it, to help this small family. They were having trouble locating a place on the grounds, and the officer picked up on this and quickly pointed out the place they were looking for. These officers were off to their duties, and one of them decided to give the little girl and her grandpa a memory they could cherish. The officer guided the horse to the girl, allowing her to touch its face. You could tell this meant so much to the grandpa, who kept mouthing thank you to the officer. Thank you. And look at the broad smile on his face even after his granddaughter seemed to be done with touching. The way father and son seem to be chilling beside the guard is just wholesome. This mother and daughter too, smiling so joyfully, is what we like to see as often as possible. Yes, the royal guard can look very unapproachable. This is something they have to project as soldiers on duty. They are defending the royal family, so it is understandable that they aren't always laughing and joking around. If they were, who would respect the English royalty? But these people are still humans, and there are instances like we have shown in this video that would touch their very soul and cause them to relent on their intimidating nature, especially when it will bring some joy to survivors of the challenges of life. It is truly wonderful that they help create some memorable moments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell to receive our new stories.